حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله.
This Azan is sponsored by UK Islamic Mission, serving humanity since 1962.
If you want to learn about Islam and Muslims, stay tuned to Salam Radio 106.2 FM.
It's now 6 o'clock.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Welcome to the Peterborough Property Guys on Salam Radio. Hope you've all had a fantastic start to the week. You're with myself, Qasafi Sadiq, the host of the Property Guys, alongside my co-host Adam Cooper. Adam, good evening. How you doing, mate?
Fantastic, Qasafi. How have you been? Oh, I sound really echoey today.
Yeah.
What's changed there?
God knows, but
This room hasn't got any bigger, right? Sounds like we're in a hall.
Sure. Hey, that's a bit better.
There we go. Michelle's been to the rescue. So,
Like
thank you,
always.
Michelle. I've been really good, Qasafi. Busy as always, busy, but
Good.
very positive stuff. What about yourself?
Yeah, likewise. I mean, we're coming to that time of the year where things do quieten down a little bit, but it's good to hear that you're still busy as ever.
Yeah,
It's just developments, isn't it? It's keep you on your toes.
it really is. All I'm asking for Christmas is a nap. That's it. That's all I want.
Amazing stuff, mate. So, guys, we're bringing to you on Salam Radio every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Our show, the Peterborough Property Guys. We're live now on Salam Radio on 106.2 FM. You can listen to us online by visiting salamradio.co.uk or watch the show on our streaming services by searching Salam Radio on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram or Twitter. If you prefer mobile, then you can download the Salam Radio app through the App Store or Google Play. Salam Radio is always on air 24/7, 365, uniting all communities. You can also watch the repeat of the show if you have missed it today. So today's guest for this week is a special one. John Paul. He's the CEO of Castledene Group, a sales and letting agency based in the northeast of England, who's going to be joining us in the second part of the show. Quite an exciting guest today, haven't we?
It's a really exciting guest,
Looking
Qasafi.
forward
Really
to it.
exciting.
Just to give you a bit of info about John, who's going to be joining us at the second part of the show. He's currently managing over 2,100 properties with 60 staff and 10 branches. Good thing I'm sitting down. John, he isn't physically involved with the day-to-day running of the business, but instead helps estate agents and letting agents systemize and grow their business through his coaching and mentoring business that he currently has.
It's really interesting that, Qasafi. Just to quickly touch on that as well. how many estate agents do you see where they're not actually in the business anymore?
Very true.
Very rare, isn't it? In independent estate agencies, you almost always see the owner in the business.
But what I really like about what John's doing is actually taking the courtesy to kind of help other estate agents and letting agents now. I mean, obviously, he's made a real success of his career with his business, added to his portfolio, on a regular basis, and now he's taken that knowledge and he's sharing it with the world. So that's why we got John on today, and we want to thank him for joining us. John is a huge advocate of being a business person first and an estate agent second. And being a business person, especially in estate agencies, it's all about being a people's person, isn't it? It
really is. It really is.
So John's motto is, start behaving like a business and growth and profitability will happen first. You will become a better agent naturally. And I really like that. You know, I think a lot of people take that out of the business because people think that it's transactional. It's all about making the money. But in hindsight, it's all about helping people at the same time.
It really is.
Turning it around.
Helping people, and it's having that bigger picture in mind, isn't it? I think too many of us, especially in our industry, because I think we get labelled as technicians, don't we? We're very good at what we do, but not necessarily very good business owners as such. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, if you watch Chris Watkins' podcast or his videos on YouTube or Facebook, he says that, great valuers don't necessarily make good branch managers, and vice versa. Great branch managers don't necessarily make good valuers either.
Exactly.
So
different traits, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we haven't got any headlines today as such. However, we want to ask you a question, like we do every week. Where do you think is the most expensive place to buy a house in Peterborough? So we want to propose that question to you, and we'd love to hear your comments. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live right now, or if you're driving, pull up. If you are going to make a comment, that we advise you to pull over first. This is reading one of Peterborough Today's articles saying that a lot of people are being caught out today using their mobile phones, so the police are on the red hot. So bit of advice there for you guys. The topic that we're going to be discussing today, one of the topics, is this the end of no-fault Section 21 evictions for the 33,000 plus Peterborough tenants? We're going to delve into that in more details. But guys, if you want to join us, you can WhatsApp your thoughts on this matter on 07745 278 978, or you can get involved with us on Facebook Live. So, Adam, let's remind our listeners and viewers out there why they should tune in to watch the Peterborough Property Guys on Salam Radio every Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Well, guys, I'm sure you've heard me say it a million times now, but for the 17th time, actually, to be precise, I'm going to tell you why. I mean, because we bring on exciting guests who've got massive of knowledge, such as John Paul, who can help not only myself and you and Qasafi, because we learn off all our guests and all our viewers as well who pitch in, but it helps you guys. It rounds up all that knowledge into one place. Just keeping ahead of the trends in the property market can be hard enough, let alone keeping ahead of the regulation. So guys, we like to bring all that into one condensed hour for you guys. We've done all the research for you, brought all the special people in, and a lot of my local people as well, guys, to get the actual real live local feedback. None of this is book knowledge. This is people in the trenches day in, day out in the property profession. So guys, we bring it to you every Tuesday between 6 and 7 p.m. So tune in, and together we're stronger. Knowledge really is power.
Amazing, Adam. Fantastic. Thank you for that. I mean, let's remind our listeners and viewers the kind of people that we've had on our show so far in terms of background. I mean, we've had, mortgage advisors, we've had independent landlords.
We have business owners, we've had construction, just big developers, massive developers. We had normal landlords as well.
Property journalists.
Yeah.
We've had other estate agents, like obviously Wilton and Co from Hampton. We've got another one joining us next week.
Exactly.
We've got an architect in the pipeline.
This is it, because we believe. I know you do, because I know I do as well. We should all learn off each other.
Absolutely.
In this industry, or in any industry, but especially the property industry, where we're changing so much and everything's so dog eat dog.
Yeah.
In a small place like Peterborough, we can all learn from each other and help with each other.
Mate.
There's a big enough pie out there for us all.
Absolutely. That's what's going to make us better at what we do. So, guys, in the late spring, the government announced that they were planning to end no-fault evictions for tenants living in private rented accommodation. So, Adam, before we kind of delve into more details, tell our listeners and viewers out there who are not familiar with what a Section 21 notice is. What is a Section 21 notice?
Okay, guys, so a Section 21 notice is a no-fault eviction. So this is the kind of notice you serve on a tenant should you want the property back, and you don't necessarily have to give a reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now, you can only serve this 2 months prior to the end of the tenancy, though.
Okay.
So, i.e. on a 6-month tenancy, you can only serve it on the start of month 4, because the judge is always going to make sure the tenant sees through the whole fixed period that you set for them.
Okay.
So it's quite an interesting one, really, because in my experience, Qasafi, I've only ever really had to use it if, say, a landlord's bought me a house and they've had the same tenant for years and years and years, and the rent is so incredibly low, but the property also needs refurbishing at the same time because they've just been lived in for so long, and the landlord hasn't been able to do that. There's just no other way around it other than to pull the tenant out, revamp the property, and of course then, because they've spent the money, they want almost double the rent normally because the tenant's been there so long.
Yeah.
That's really the only time I had to use it, because other than that, what landlord wants to evict a perfectly good tenant who's paying their rent?
Precisely, yeah. I mean, that's probably a kind of eviction, an ideal eviction. That you also get the good, the bad, and the ugly, don't you?
You do. I mean, there's always going to be the bad in every profession, isn't there? There's always going to be people using it to their advantage, which is not always to the tenant's advantage. So it's a bit like the licensing scheme all over again, isn't it? You know, there's many landlords who didn't need it, who were already abiding by the rules, but there's also many out there who weren't, and who that did a lot of good for the tenants and the local community.
Okay. So just to let our listeners and viewers know that this new the Section 21 notice that's currently valid at the moment it's in government at the moment, where it may potentially be abolished, and that's going to be affecting just under 13,000 Peterborough landlords with this new change of law, if it does be enforced. So Adam, I mean, what if a tenant's in rent arrears, or if they've damaged the property and the Section 21 is not valid anymore? Because Section 21 notice you can serve it at any point, any time after the 4 months during of the contract.
Exactly, as long as only 2 months remain of the fixed period, you can serve it,
and you do not have to give a reason whatsoever.
You don't need to give them any reason at all.
But what the government are saying now is you have to give a reason, so we're not going to be using this anymore.
Exactly, they want us to serve it on specific grounds that they agree with.
Okay.
So I'm sure a lot of viewers out there and listeners heard of Section 8 notices. The Section 8 notice is what essentially we're going to have to rely on as landlords and agents. So
is that going to be the alternative of Section 21?
That is the only alternative at the minute.
That's the only alternative.
There is no other alternative at the minute.
So you can't just go in and change the locks?
No, gone to them days. I'd strongly advise against it, because the council will actually advise the tenant to call a locksmith at your cost and break back in and change the locks and send you the invoice.
Yeah, wow.
So they smash through your door, guys. That's an expensive and embarrassing apology you got to make to the tenant.
That was a joke, by the way, guys. So if you listen, that is not a practice that I recommend. Just to want to make people aware that that is not an option whatsoever.
Different extremes, isn't it?
Section 21 is the standard notice that landlords and letting agents do provide. I mean, Section 21s, they're not as easy as people think nowadays. People think, okay, we can serve a Section 21 notice 4 months during the contract, but a lot of landlords are quite oblivious about the connections that are attached to serving a Section 21. For example, I know we mentioned this before, but because it's our topic, we want to kind of give more information to our listeners out there. Things like serving a gas certificate, an EPC certificate, rent.
How to rent guide. You've got prescribed information as well. You've got all the whether it's a DPS, whatever government scheme you're using for deposit. You've got to send them the certificate as well. And there's many things affecting.
They have to confirm they've received that information.
Yeah, you have to be able to show proof that
they have
that
to sign it and say, look, we received a gas certificate, we received an EPC, we received how to rent booklet, we received our deposit ID number, and they have to sign and say that we received it. And if they haven't received it, and you as a landlord or a letting agent hasn't got a proof that
can't show proof,
then they can't legally evict them. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. And there's a few of them notices as well. I mean, most of them you can retrospectively serve, although I don't advise it. You can retrospectively serve should you have forgotten, or if there's any issues on it, you need to be able to validate the proof that you've actually served it. But with a gas safety certificate, you cannot retrospectively serve that. So if the tenant, for whatever reason, is denying all knowledge of receiving it at the start of the tenancy, whether you gave it to them or not, if you can't prove that, then you can't evict them. Well, you can, but you're going to be in for a world of pain, and you're going to have to go through specialists to get that done.
Amazing. Well, guys, at the 4.5 million private rented households in Peterborough, only under 23,000 Section 21 notices made it to court last year. Now, we already know that Scotland is 2 steps ahead of England.
Mm-hmm.
They've already enforced this in place, haven't they, where the Section 21 notice is abolished.
They have indeed, yeah. Yeah, they have.
What current model do they have at the moment? Is it Section 8 or...?
Oh, I'm not too familiar with the Scottish law, to be fair, but I believe it is the Section 8 that they're using. You know, so I mean, it's obviously not going to be the end of the world for landlords. If Scotland have been running it for a few years, they're a bit like the tenant fee ban all over again. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to change things up a bit. It's going to change the landscape massively for what we do.
Yeah.
But essentially, in this ever-changing world and industry, you just got to adapt to survive, haven't you?
Precisely. Okay. I was going to ask you a question, but it slipped my mind.
You got so many running through your head, eh?
Yeah, precisely, yeah.
Well, cuz, I mean, I don't know what your experience of Section 21s are. I mean, I think in my time of running the agency, I think we've served literally about 5 max.
Okay.
About 5, and generally speaking, that's only when it's backed up a Section 8 order. You know, other than that, we generally only send them out as just a backup to Section 8 fail. And other than that, I mean, even in Section 8, so we've probably done a maximum of 5, and it's all for rent arrears every single time. You know, it's very rarely antisocial behaviour. You get any issues like that, not to that extreme. It always tends to be the rent arrears, which it's a shame because it's not always the tenant's fault. I mean, you know, circumstances happen in life which are out of everyone's control, and everyone goes through hard times.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you, I mean, I don't know about other agents' experience, it'd be interesting to hear from them, to be honest. So, guys, if there's any of you out there listening, I'd love to hear your experience on it. But myself, we've probably said about 5, and that goes to show you that we never want to evict a tenant for no reason. Now, and even if it's a situation we can fix, I mean, before, and I'm sure every other agent and landlord are the same, before any notices are served, you try every avenue possible to keep that tenant in. You try payment plans, you try working with them, you try working with the council if they're on housing benefit. You try everything to keep them in, because in a day, we're all human beings, you know. We do this as a business, but it's a people business.
Yeah. Definitely, totally agree.
No, I don't think any agent's really out there, not a good agent or even good landlord, is out there to make anyone else's life more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Just remembered my question, in fact.
Okay, what you got?
If a landlord wanted to evict a tenant, would you advise them to do it themselves, or would you advise them to get a solicitor or someone who's a legal representation to evict the tenant?
I'd 100% get someone else to represent, get a professional. I mean, even myself, Qasafi, I don't represent ourselves in court. We ever need to go for tenant evictions, just purely because it's such a specialist thing. All it takes is one little slip up, you know, and not only is the tenant then in for say another couple months because you've got the whole process to go back through again. You know, you've lost the court fees and you know and whatever else if it's rent arrears you're in, chances they didn't pay any rent in the meantime anyway. So you stand to lose a lot more than you actually stand to gain from doing it yourself. And again, I know from my experience, the judge doesn't take too kindly to amateurs such as ourselves going in where we're not legal professionals. We may know our stuff in terms of tenancy law and what we do, but at the end of the day, we're not qualified solicitors.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely, I totally agree. And you have to look at it from the judge's point of view. And as they always say, the law always favours the tenant. So, the risks of you going there yourself, are very low and you actually win the case. So,
well, this is it. I mean, I've won in the past quite a few times, but I've also lost in the past as well for reasons that I'd like to believe even a solicitor wouldn't have been able to deal with as efficiently. But, the judge just favours having a legal representative. And I don't blame him, to be honest, because I mean, it must slap him in the face a little bit. Someone like such as myself or you, because I'd be walking in to represent a legal matter in a court of law. So I can see why they get a bit peeved with us. But yeah, it does kind of make the situation harder than it should be. I do think there's going to have to be a slightly altered system if the Section 21 does go.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, is that going to benefit the landlord or the tenant?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of cases, Qasafi, it's just a proper organised case of mediation between a landlord and tenant or an agent and tenant may work better.
Okay.
Because again, a lot of the problems are communication breakdowns. Because it's embarrassing. If you're on rent arrears, I know if it was me, I'd feel embarrassed. And I'm sure the tenant feels the same. No one intentionally seeks to owe anyone money, not in his life. So they're embarrassed. So a lot of the time they bury their heads in the sand and they just stop communicating, which then obviously makes the debt accrue, and emotions get heightened, and then of course the court comes, and I don't think it needs to get to that stage. Probably 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I mean there are cases where some tenants deliberately do not want to pay rent, and there's some cases where it's just out of your control.
Yeah,
it's just the nature of the industry, and it has been said that the lettings industry is probably one of the most stressful industries out there.
Don't you mean, Kaz? I'm only 16.
I was
Stress of the job,
you look 13. Let's swiftly move on to some other topics. What we want to talk about now is the most and least expensive places to buy a house in Peterborough. So, what would you think probably the best place in Peterborough to live is?
With the best and the most expensive?
The most expensive.
Yeah. Because there's some crazy streets in Peterborough that are really pricey. I mean, such as Fort Road. Fort Road's lovely.
Okay.
Different parts of Fort Road are different in terms of how the house type, how set back you are, the land you get with it. But my God, I see some houses on there go for crazy money because of the heritage that the road brings. It's the name, isn't it?
I have to say, mate, you know your stuff, because in fact, Longthorpe and Netherton is the most expensive place.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all of that, honestly.
On average.
Yeah.
On average, that is. And so, obviously, I presume Thorpe Road would kind of fall in that area.
Yeah, I imagine it's on the border, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Netherton's growing massive in popularity over the last 5 years.
Why would you say that is? Is it because of the hospital?
What's that? Netherton or
sorry,
Fort Road?
the City Hospital, because it's close to Netherton and Bretton and Ravensthorpe.
I just think Netherton's a very nice place to live. To be honest, it's
it?
very varied, isn't it? I mean, you're right next to town, but you wouldn't know you was right next to town, which I think that's why people love it. You got the convenience of being in town.
Yeah.
But on your doorstep, you get the nice, almost like village atmosphere, don't you? And I see Netherton, everyone knows everyone in the neighbours. It's very welcoming. You got your local shops there as well, local barbers. You got all that sort of stuff, and 5-minute drive, you're straight in town.
Yeah. You got the nice long drives.
You do.
They're open.
And they're big houses.
The big houses.
So you can extend a lot, which means you can stay there for longer. There's less likely chance to move because, at the end of the day, the area's nice and the house works and you can keep adding to it. Yeah. Why would you move?
And it's a place in demand. I mean, every time a property comes up, they get snapped up, doesn't it?
Oh God, it's like a bidding war, isn't it? It always is in Netherton, always. So I think you walk down the street with a sandwich board on in Peterborough and sell houses in Netherton.
So the next most expensive place to live in Peterborough is Glinton, Northborough and Maxey. Just to let you know, the Longthorpe and Netherton, the average kind of price is 255,000. Glinton, Northborough, Maxey is 235. And after that, you're looking at and Thorney, which is about 216,000.
I'm quite surprised that and Thorney being up there.
Yeah, I think Thorney is quite a nice area. I mean,
no, not disputing that. I'm just surprised that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I suppose you got less new builds there, haven't you? So you got less of the cheaper housing stock. So the average prices, as a whole, are probably higher, aren't they?
Yeah. Just to give you the names of the others, we've got down Walton at 197. Central Park at 181. West End and Woodston at 180. You've got Dogsthorpe at 177,500. This is on average, by the way. And then obviously you've got the Warrington at 175. You've got the Passons at 171. Bretton Park at 160,000.
So that's grown leaps and bounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember valuing houses there when I first started the industry. Like I said, like high 80s, low 90s.
Definitely.
I even remember selling some in the 70s.
Yeah. There you have it. Times change, and they have changed quite rapidly. I mean, over the last 5 years, they've increased by 27%.
It's insane,
shows you how crazy the market's going. Fengate in Parnwood at 146,000. North Bretton and Westwood at 140,000. You got Millfield and Borders Boulevard at 137,000. And then last but not least, you've got Peterborough Central at 130.
Wow.
Would you say that's about right?
You know what? I'm surprised we didn't hear any of the other sort of outskirts areas, such as Welland and stuff like that. You get a lot of cheaper houses there, don't you? And there's not so many big ones to dilute the prices there either.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I can't say I'm shocked with the whole Netherton and Longthorpe stuff though.
What I want to look at now is some of the most deprived areas in Peterborough.
Okay.
Yeah. So hitting at number one, the rank number one is ranked in Paston, believe it or not.
What, as the most deprived or
The
the least deprived?
most deprived. Okay, let's have a look at this one more time. So it's 15 most deprived areas to live in Peterborough.
Okay.
Okay. So, as mentioned, Paston was number one.
Number one. Wow.
Right at the top of there.
I'm surprised you know that.
Do you reckon? Not a lot's happening in Paston. Do you not think? I mean,
They had a big Newwood site recently, didn't they? I know I saw some housing going for some good money there as well, which I would have
Yeah.
thought pumped a little bit of extra economy in there. Maybe some more amenities for the locals. But I guess you're right. It's one of them places where it was developed by the council, wasn't it? And there's not a lot of space left around there really to do much with.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I've seen happen there over the last decade is probably the Tesco's. Since then, I've not really seen much development. So
True.
let's move on. So Alton Southgate is ranked number 2. That's one of the most deprived areas.
Deprived. On Southgate. I suppose in amenities, there's not a great deal around there, is there?
Yeah.
Cool, my brother's listening. He's going to get me, isn't he? He lives in Southgate or Northgate. I always forget, but it's a lovely area around there. But I think again, you often find a lot of new build estates. The developers obviously it isn't their job to think about shops and stuff. That's the other people, but they generally don't come very quick. I know you look at the Gunthorpe site as well.
Yeah.
At Roman Gardens, there's still not a lot around there either.
No.
But yet the houses are beautiful.
Yeah, the houses are quite decent. I was going to say. So Welland's at number 3. Not surprised.
I thought Welland would have been the first, to be honest, but it's my opinion.
We've got Alton Goldgate there.
So I don't think Alton's that bad anymore, I think it's definitely come up over the years.
I totally agree with you, especially if you go down Longwell sides.
Yeah.
You go down Waterville. I think you got some really nice Brimbles.
It's beautiful. I used to live in Wistow, and Wistow's lovely.
Wistow, absolutely.
Right next to Ferry Meadows.
Yeah.
And you got everything there.
I think you got the good part of Alton, and you got some.
You definitely do.
Five parts. Let's move on. So you got the Alton Malbon and Alton Longville. Did I say Alton Longville? That's a good area. Excuse me. Yeah, so you got that at number 7. Sorry, I missed number 6 out. And number 5.
You got personal preference here because that's what it is.
After Alton Goldgate, number 5 was Dogsthorpe and Welland. Then you got number 6. You got North Breton.
Yeah. I suppose North Breton's still North Breton, isn't it? Again, a bit like Paston, there's not been a great deal that's come up around there, is there?
We've got a minute left before the break, so let's quickly whiz through this.
So kind of, Kaz, where would you live out of them areas then? Come on, out of everywhere. If you had to pick one.
Let me mention all this first. Alton Malbon and Alton Longville, as I mentioned, number 7. Number 8 was South Westwood and Netherton. South Westwood.
South, yeah.
South Westwood. Then you got Westwood at number 9. Then you got North Alton Goldgate at number 10. Got Ravensthorpe and Westwood at number 11. At number 12, you got South Breton. Number 13, you got North Fengate. Number 14, you got North Breton. And number 15, guess what?
What we got?
The best place that I'd like to live.
Park Road.
Cromwell Road, mate. Come on, Adam.
What, is the most deprived or the least deprived?
We'll have to leave that as a question mark.
Leave that
But guys,
to
we're going to go for a short break and we're going to have our guest John Paul on. So don't go away. See you after the break.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
It doesn't take much to bring some difference. You give some change, which makes a change. Because nothing gets mileage like a charity. Just a little change turns into a chain. And before we know it, the results are massive. So give a little to make a big difference. For donations, call now. UKIM 0207 387 2157.
Had a car accident or an accident at work? Accident specialists are experts in no-win, no-fee accident claims. Leave the hassle to us. Our multilingual settlement experts will manage the entire claims process on your behalf, with nothing to pay up front. We provide services such as credit hire, taxi vehicles, recovery, storage and much more. For full details on our range of services and a free consultation, call us on 01733 555 774 or visit our office at 249 Lincoln Road opposite the NatWest Bank. Accident Specialists. Start your successful claim today.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices. Or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
الحديث السابع عن عقبة بن عامر رضي الله عنه قال: سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: يعجب ربك من راعي غنم في رأس شظية الجبل يؤذن بالصلاة ويصلي، فيقول الله عز وجل: انظروا إلى عبدي هذا يؤذن ويقيم الصلاة يخاف مني، قد غفرت لعبدي وأدخلته الجنة. رواه النسائي بسند صحيح.
Hadith 7. On the authority of Uqba bin Amir, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah, may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, say, Your Lord delights at a shepherd who, on the peak of a mountain crag, gives the call to prayer and praise. Then Allah, glorified and exalted be He, says, Look at this servant of mine. He gives the call to prayer and performs the prayers. He is in awe of me. I have forgiven my servant his sins and have admitted him to paradise. It was related by An-Nasai with a good chain of authorities.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من رغب عن سنتي فليس مني, that whoever abandons my sunnah is not from me.
When I think of the times you were here with me, it makes me smile so happily. Those were the days, but now you're far away, and I pray for the day when I'll see you again. May Allah protect you wherever you are.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
It's now 6:30.
Got you, man. That's Michelle just trying to catch her out, isn't she? She's like, they were too good on that first half.
Amazing, guys. Welcome back to Salam Radio 106.2 FM. You are listening to the Peterborough Property Guys with myself, Qasafi Sadiq, and our main man, Adam Cooper. Adam, have you enjoyed the show so far?
It's really good, to be honest. I'm really excited about our guest we got on today, to be honest, Qasafi. Yeah, I think a lot of our viewers can learn a lot from the main man himself, John Paul.
Definitely. So, guys, the kind of topic we were discussing during the show was, is this the end of the no-fault Section 21 evictions for the 33,000 Peterborough tenants? And, yeah, we kind of delved into that to plenty of details. We'd love to hear John's thought on that. But let's get John on the show now. Good evening, John Paul.
Hi guys, how are you?
Very good, thank you, John. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me loud and clear?
We can hear you nice and loud. Thank you ever so much for joining us on the show today. Really appreciate you giving us your valuable time.
My pleasure, thank you.
So, John, we've kind of already introduced yourself to our listeners and viewers out there. And just to kind of recap, you're the CEO of Castledene Group, which is a sales and letting agency based in the northeast of England. Currently managing over 2,000 properties, which is amazing. 60 staff, 10 branches. Good thing we were sitting down when we read that out. And you don't physically get involved in the day-to-day running of the business, but instead help agents systemize and grow their business through your coaching and mentoring skills, which is absolutely amazing. Is there anything that I've missed out?
No, that's absolutely spot on. That's exactly what we do. Hence why I'm in this lovely apartment or lovely hotel room in Manchester. I'm holding the mastermind here. But yeah, I've built the business up so it can operate without me. I'm very big on systems and KPIs and all that corporate type of stuff, just so I don't have to run the business. I've got an amazing MD, really good senior management team, really good management team structure. And my main passion is helping people. I love helping agents. And yeah, so I can really follow my passion.
Amazing, amazing. So, what is the JP story? I mean, how did your world of property start?
Well, I'll give you the short version because I don't want to put your listeners to sleep. But my father was an ex-miner, colliery man. As you can probably tell by the accent, I'm not local to Peterborough. I'm a bit further north. Very colliery. So my dad was a miner, my granddad was a miner. In fact, my cousins were. My kids are the first generation of my family where no one's been down the pit or worked in heavy engineering. Even in this day and age, that's literally how working class you can get.
Right.
And I just got into property. I mean, unfortunately, my father passed away quite quickly from cancer, and we lost.
Sorry to hear about that.
No, it's all right. So we lost him. 3 months later, we lost the business. Literally, the family lost everything. I was employed by my father. My mother was. My brother was. And that's hence my sort of thing about systems, like why I'm so passionate about it, because when he passed away, the business couldn't run without him. So that's why we lost it. So a little bit in limbo for a couple of years. Bought a couple of properties, remortgaged them. I was a landlord first. I was also doing a lot. I don't know if you know my background, but I was also martial arts. I was doing a lot of mixed martial arts. Competing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was going to the States, going all over Europe, up and down the UK.
You look a bit like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Has anyone said that to you?
I'm about 2 foot taller than him, but I mean, I wish I had his money. Anyway, so I just got property. And my idea was I was going to employ somebody to manage my property so I can continue training in the States.
Okay.
I went to Portland, Oregon. I was in LA. I was training and fighting with a lot of the big guys in the UFC at the time.
Amazing.
And it was 2008 when LHA came out, which was the old housing benefit.
Okay.
And the council didn't even know how it worked.
Wow.
So they were coming to me. Well, because I'm very sort of obsessive about things, I really made sure I had to learn what the laws and regulations were. So when I'm telling the council that what they're doing is wrong, and I'm telling the council, no, you need to do this, they said, you know what, we're just going to pass all our business, or the landlords who struggle, to you. Okay. So in the first probably 20 months, we got to about 180, 190 properties.
Wow, amazing.
Which is crazy growth.
It is.
But unfortunately, because of crazy growth, I didn't have all the systems and procedures and the staff.
Sure.
And, it was just terrible time. It was, backwards and forwards to the council, losing landlords, gaining landlords, losing more landlords. So I had to sort of professionalise the business. So we went down systemising it, writing the procedures, the operations manual, training the staff, all the corporate-y stuff that we know we need to do and we know it works, but we don't know how it works. We don't know what to do.
Amazing. Really, really interesting stuff. It just shows you out of hardship, you could learn so much. You could improvise. You could, come up with great ideas, which you have.
Oh, it's so true. And I think so many people forget about that. There's got to be someone there to run the business, don't they?
Yeah. We just lost JP for a brief second. We will get him back though. But guys, if you're listening and you want to get involved, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask John Paul, then please get involved. You've got our telephone number. It's 07745 278 or you can
the person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message.
Studio telephone, which is 01733 602 133, or you could get us on Facebook Live. So Adam, you had a question for John. What was that? Just out of curiosity. We're going to try getting back online in a very brief second.
I've got so many for him, to be fair, but one of the main ones was for myself, Qasafi, and I'm sure so many agents out there who can emphasise this, is with all his business experience, all this knowledge, if John had to start again, what would he do differently?
Amazing.
Because as he said there, I mean, that growth was incredible.
Wow, yeah.
And that would be like every agent's, what you'd have thought, their dream come true. But as he said it himself, it was a nightmare because of the lack of systems. And the age-old scenario keeps happening, and then, like you say, you gain more landlords, but you lose some landlords. And you're constantly chasing your tail in that industry again.
Yeah. But the good thing is, with John's experience, he's learned from it.
Oh, precisely.
He's improved his business, he's improved his structure. He's actually wrote a manual. I'm pretty sure he said it's like a 200-page manual. I won't be surprised.
I've seen his posts.
It is very, very, very comprehensive.
Oh, yeah, and I've seen John's posts on Facebook, and I think they're like 200-page posts as it is. So his book doesn't surprise me in the slightest. It's going to be full of golden nuggets in there.
Definitely.
I mean, there's so many others you can learn from them. Because I mean, I try and be big on my systems, but you can never know too much of this sort of stuff.
You can never know too much because there's always different things cropping up.
There really is. And like he said, you don't know what you don't know. You know, everyone knows in
100%.
corporates they have these systems, these KPIs, they have all that hierarchy management stuff to keep it going, which I think a lot of small business owners shy away from, because I always find a lot of people have come from the corporate background. So, you know, I think their first thing is to get away from the corporate style of doing things. But essentially, systems is what every business needs. Otherwise, like John says, you're going to be in it working, forever. Oh, I think we might have John back.
Yeah.
We got him back. Cool. Let's see if we can get him back on.
Right, guys, we're gonna get John back on now. Earth to John, are you there?
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, John. Yeah, we lost you there. I think your laptop battery died, but doesn't matter. We've always got.
I think I should have had systems about that, shouldn't I?
That's why I didn't bring a generator, John.
Yeah, I know, all the way from the northeast.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's fine, John. Well, thank you for connecting back with us. As you know, Adam is our co-host. He's on air at the moment. Adam's got a question for you.
So, John, you're a really interesting guy, and hats off for what you've done. But going back, if you could start your business again with the knowledge you know now, what would you do differently as an agent? Because your sort of view of looking at it from a business person's point of view as opposed to an agent's point of view is really refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would treat it as a business from the day I started.
Okay.
Literally, I wouldn't treat it as a hobby. I wouldn't treat it as a bit of extra income. I would get very clear on my vision, as in what I wanted to achieve and where I wanted to take the company and how. My values, as in how am I going to run the business. So I class my values as my moral compass. So whenever I've got to make a decision, I make it with my values in mind. And it sounds really, really cheesy. It really does. But every time I make a decision, I think about my dad, my father, as in, like, what would he do? So,
inspiration.
Is it the right? Yeah, it is, absolutely. And that's why, you can hear that I might have not have done a job very well. I'll be totally honest. Or this didn't go right. But what no one will ever hear is I've ripped anybody off, or I've done anything unethical, or I've done anything immoral. That'll just never happen. I stake my reputation on it. And that's what you've got to do in life and in business. You've got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and said, I did everything with the best of integrity and the best of intentions. Did it go right all the time? Of course it doesn't. And anyone who says they've never made a mistake is either a liar or they've never actually got out of bed for 100 years. They've not actually done anything. We all make mistakes. It's just how you bounce back for that and how you put them right. So I would get that straight. I'd get that absolutely correct from the start, and I'd recruit the best people I possibly could in alignment with my values. So I'd get people who shared the same values as me, because when you build a company on values, you build a special company. You build something to be proud of. And then systems, training, development, put back into the staff as much as I take out, as in, you expect them to do a job, but you need to train and develop them, because that's what truly motivates staff. And once you get a highly motivated, functional, accountable team, you're flying. You're going to be the best in your industry, whatever that industry is.
You said in your bio, start behaving like a business and growth and profitability will happen first. You would become a better agent naturally. Is that your motto?
Yeah, it's just do everything to your best of your ability with what you've got, and money will flow as a byproduct of that. So too many people chase the pennies. Too many people go into a deal.
Interesting.
Trying to make money. Go into the deal, doing the best you can, creating a win-win situation for everybody. And if money is a byproduct of that, then great. But if you go into the deal chasing, your focus is off what is the win-win for everybody. Your focus isn't about making a situation positive. Your focus is about chasing the penny, and that's when your values get misaligned. Because if you chase the money, then then the decisions you make aren't congruent with you and your values. Your decisions that you make are congruent in collecting a currency at the end of the deal, and that's wrong, because that's when you make decisions that don't benefit people, and that's when you rip people off, or you're unethical, or you make the wrong choices or immoral choices.
That's really, really interesting and really insightful, because the estate agency industry has got a really bad reputation as being called being dubbed as the evil necessity. And for you to kind of, have that refreshing insight on how business should be run is beautiful. That's the word I want to use, beautiful, because people before money.
Oh, Totally, it's absolutely 100%. You know, everything you do. I think it's because we come from the northeast, which is very community driven.
It is.
So
I love going up north. It really brings me down to earth.
Well, have you seen the film Billy Elliot?
I have, mate. Yep.
Well, our head office is in Billy Elliot, is in Easington, County Down, where Billy Elliot was filmed.
Oh, really?
So when you see little Billy Elliot dancing on the
take myself down there, then won't I? One day.
Yeah, you'll have to. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You know, it's a bit deprived in area and stuff, but in terms of community spirit, you can't beat it. You know, people know everybody and stuff, and you know, yes, it's got its problems like everybody else, but in the northeast, it's all about community. And
it is, mate.
I wanted to build a business that employed a lot of people, so I could give. That's my version of giving back. That's my community part of it. You know, we employ people from local areas, and we try and help them up. It's not a handout; it's a hand up, and that's two different things.
Amazing, brilliant. We've got loads of more questions for you, John. Adam, fire away.
So, John, I mean, you touched base on something there about on my question about start with your vision, know exactly where the company's going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many people do you come across that? Because I know I discuss with a lot of business owners as well, where you can sense the lack of clarity behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like you say, they say in life, you haven't got a roadmap to guide you. I mean, you don't know when you're going to get to your destination. You won't even know when you reached it.
Yes. I mean, that's a really good point, actually. But it's the same as you know, you can know where you need to be this year. You know when you want to get to over the next 2 or 3 years. You know when you possibly want to get to over the next 5 to 10 years. And there's going to be detours. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be, I think I'm just going to reverse a little bit. There's going to be all kinds of bumps along the way. But unless you've got a plan, I mean, you look at it this way, right? If I said to you, Adam, I need you to go make my tea, right? And I want you to make us a cake. Just go to Asda, go to Tesco, and just get the ingredients. You'd probably spend about an hour and a half going round it, looking at the aisles. What does he like? What's this? What's that? I don't know what he wants. Where's the sugar? Where's the cake mix? But if I give you an absolute map of where everything is, the most efficient, most effective way, what ingredients are needed, when I needed it, in what order, you'd be in and out there in 20 minutes. So by having that vision, that clarity, that roadmap of where you want to get to, you're going to get to your end goal quicker. And again, you know, we've got to adapt and change as human beings. We understand and appreciate personal things might happen. You know, your wife might become pregnant, so that changes a whole new thing. It might be that you want to live in a different part of the town, so that affects your business a little bit more. It might be there's another business opportunity. It could be something else in your business or personal life. So we can change and adapt it, but we still need that plan. We still need that roadmap to get us where we need to be.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. I love the fact that you say about your personal life as well, because again, I think some of the business owners, you always think it's going to go exactly to plan, and it very rarely does. It very rarely does.
Yeah, it never does. I mean, I've changed our overall goal in the business changed about 2 years ago. So, you know, being in business 10.5 years, and it's still changed about 2 years ago, our overall vision and strategy. So, you know, you think 8.5 years into a business, it's pretty set. It's not. You know, we changed it. So it just shows that even like a sort of a semi-mature business such as ours can change and adapt.
So true.
Yeah, our main topic of today was is this the end of the no fault Section 21 eviction for the obviously, you know, X amount of Peterborough tenants. What's your thoughts on that? Do you reckon it's actually going to is it going to be discontinued come end of the year or beginning of next year?
I think so. I think it's going to be probably, you know, mid next year, back end of the year, if not even further. But can I be honest? I don't think it's a game changer.
It's not a game changer. No.
No, there's going to be something in its place. I mean, I quickly did I phoned my MD up this morning just to ask how many tenancies we've done since we started, and she's guesstimated about 6,500.
Wow.
And Section 21's are basically the no fault eviction, where a landlord wants them out the house for no other reason than to take the property back, or for no reason, or retaliatory evictions. And she said, I am not aware of a landlord given a Section 21 for no particular reason in 6,500. It's never happened. If a tenant, because when you think about it, unless a landlord wants to get or evict the tenant for rent arrears or damaging the property or antisocial behaviour, he wants, or you're not paying the rent. He wants the tenant in there because they're paying the rent. Why would you want to kick or evict a really good tenant from your property? There's not many reasons. So I'm not saying that it doesn't, and I do appreciate that it might be the landlord might want to take it back or sell it or do whatever. But in the main, we just never come across it. So it's not really going to affect us. I'm not aware. The agents I teach all across the UK and, you know, down south in Scotland and Wales, they're not too bothered about it either. It's not going to affect them. But so long as the court process and we have a housing court or something along those lines that helps speed up evictions, I think I was reading in the consultation it was between 17 and 22 weeks from putting an application in to evicting a tenant on average, which is ridiculous. It's pathetic. That's 22 weeks that a landlord might not be getting paid.
Precisely.
So, or that tenant is who you're evicting for antisocial behaviour is living next door to somebody who's could be vulnerable. So I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I just think it's a bit of a headline grabber. It's a bit of a political vote winner, I think.
Fair enough. Would you say generally it'll benefit the landlord more than the tenant?
Yes, yeah. Or if they were getting served left, right, and centre, then yes, it would benefit the landlord just to evict the tenant. The reason is because it's no fault. It's just to get somebody out, and the reason is when you serve a Section 8, you've got 17 notices or 17 particular Section 8s.
Yep.
Half of them it's mandatory, as in you serve it, the judge has to give you possession. The other half are discretionary.
Yep.
Well, what people did is they just said, do you know what, I'll just belt and braces approach, I'll serve the Section 21 as well, because that's a mandatory, the judge has to give me possession. That's all it was. All it means now is we're going to have to be a bit more careful about what grounds we choose for serving notice, and just be a little bit more careful with the paperwork. But as long as there's some sort of adjustment and change in the way that we serve Section 8, as in the landlord's favour, or the housing court, or some sort of evolution of it occurs, then I think there's going to be enough for landlords to say, do you know what, it's not really that big a deal, but it's going to be enough for tenants to think, I've got a bit of security of tenure. I'll be honest, again, I don't know of many tenants who are worried about getting evicted for Section 21s.
Of course not, no.
No, but I bet half of them didn't realise that there is such a thing as a Section 21 out there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Adam. I agree with that, yeah.
I think unless you're in this sector, it's not really one of the things you're going to concern yourself with, is it? To be honest.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. You don't start a tenancy when you're a tenant saying, by the way, can you just tell me all the ways that you can evict me my tenancy, please? It's just one of those questions that we never get asked. So you're dead right. It's not one of those things that many people know about when they go into as a tenant.
No, I definitely agree there, John. I'm going to take us a little bit off topic again, John, because I know Qasafi wants to pick your brains about property, but I really love the fact you're so business orientated around it as well, around agencies, because again, I think so many really talented estate agents out there either aren't in business for themselves because they don't know enough about business, or failed at it because they didn't learn quick enough when they set their own up. So I know you're a massive fan of reading, John. I've seen your Facebook Lives, I've seen the massive bookshelves behind you. So you could pick 3 books to recommend to our audience to read that's going to change their world. What would them 3 books be?
I know one of them.
And they're not allowed to be mine.
They can be yours if they're that good, John. We don't discriminate. If they're that good, which I'm sure they probably are, it can definitely be one of yours.
Let us think. Well, the good old one that got me started on the path to systemising my business was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, but I think that one's been absolutely done to death. There's another good one called Build to Sell by John Warrelaw. That's a very good one, and that's how you set the business up to sell in mind. So you start off and you set it up. You've got to imagine how would you want to buy a business, what things would you want in place if you were going to buy a business, and you just reverse engineer it. I wrote one called From Stress to Success, which was a bit of a how-do manual, how to systemize your business.
I think you're releasing one this week, aren't you, John? On Friday, called The Agency Roadmap.
Yes, so funny you use that word earlier on, Adam, the roadmap. Yeah. So I've come at exactly that, just sort of looked at the areas of an agency, be it lettings or estate agents, and said, right, there's 9 specific areas that if you master these areas, then you will have a very good business.
Wow, and that's going to be releasing this Friday, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I've just detailed those 9 areas in the agency roadmap.
Any kind of I wouldn't say spoiler alerts, but any kind of any kind of tips or hints that you want to?
Here's one there. Recruitment. 99% of businesses, be it state agency or any other industry, get recruiting wrong. So they will look at the CV and they will look at how competent and capable the person is. And I think you shouldn't recruit people on capability and competency alone. You should recruit them on values.
Wow.
You should recruit people who will walk over hot coals for you, will crawl over broken glass, because if you've got good training and development, you can make them competent. They will become capable if you've got the training and development. One thing you can't give them is the same values as you. So when something hits the fan or the going gets tough and they've got to make the hard choices, people who share the same values will stick around and will work through it. People who are mercenaries and just come for the money, they will just go to the highest bidder who comes along and flutters a bit of cash in front of them. So recruit on values, not just capability and competency.
Yeah, I think it's huge. It really is.
It is.
Like you say, it's that age-old thing, isn't it? Like you say, you'd sooner train that skill in someone than you would get someone who's got all the skill, but like you say, totally the wrong values and totally the wrong attitude.
Absolutely. I mean, a good example I use is the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. He was capable and competent. He was a billionaire. But would you invest all your family's money with him?
No,
not now.
Values are wrong.
Yeah, precisely, mate.
It is true. It is. There's so many people out with that skill, isn't there? There really is.
John, look, time is of the essence. You've got a few minutes before we wrap things up. Have you ever been down Peterborough, John?
Yes, I've been a couple of times, yeah.
Excellent, good. Well, next time you're down, make sure you give us a call. Tell us something that you like about Peterborough.
I like passing it on the way through to London. No, I'm only joking. So I've been, just been down there. Progressive guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing a rent-to-own course down there, and I've been on the podcast and stuff there. So I've been
nice, brilliant, fantastic. So, John, for our viewers and listeners out there, if they wanted to reach you and benefit from your services, how could they do that?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, John Paul. Email is johnpaul@thecastledenegroup.com. Castledene, D-E-N-E, group.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. Just get in touch, and if I can help in any way, just let me know.
Amazing. And you hold your yearly courses, don't you? Do you still do that, or
more? Sorry,
your annual courses that you do, your events.
Yes. So we're going to be running quite a few next year. So we've got about 5 or 6 planned. Brilliant. So it's going to be the agency roadmap, going through that, management, motivation, training development, all that sort of stuff.
Well, me and Adam might pop down to one of the courses, because I've seen a couple of the videos on Facebook, and they look really interesting. So, well, John, thank you very much for your time today. I really, really appreciate you giving us your valuable time. And
thank you, John.
Wishing you all the best. Thank you very much.
And you guys, take care.
Take care, mate.
Have
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
So, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up now because we literally got 40 seconds. Adam, how did you sum up today's show?
Oh, it's brilliant. Just so much knowledge, so little time.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, our next week's guest is Ian Story. He was the director of Story Estates over in Blackpool. And we're going to be talking about the leasehold and ground rent scandal of Peterborough. That's going to be an interesting one. So, guys, make sure you tune in next week to watch that. You can rewatch the show on Facebook and YouTube, or alternatively by visiting my blog page. So, guys, that's the show today. Thank you for joining us on Salam Radio. Until next week, same time, same place, from myself and Adam Cooper, you're listening to the Peterborough
Property Guys.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.